Hey everyone, welcome to my 100-year-old basement dye studio where we get our old clothes on, our jammies, we put our hair up, we get all crazy, and then we play with color. I don't want to brag here, but I have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle apron. You know, this is one of those moments where it's like you reflect on your life and you go, I have peaked. Everything that I've wanted in my life accomplished. This was a gift to me from my little cousin. She's not really little. You know, what do we always say? She's younger than I am. So in my brain, she's always my little cousin. Poor thing. Anyway, she's old. I'm old, she's old. She got me this as a present. And it's awesome. And I love it. And just, you know, so you know what? Who's your favorite? Can you name all the names? Can you say what weapon they had? I mean, yeah. I think my favorite is Raphael. Yeah. Okay. Oh no. Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo, oh no, I don't know. Leonardo. You almost took away my nerd cred right there. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm really excited. I mean, okay, so part of me, so it is, you know, okay, so let's talk about what are good aprons to use when dyeing. And it's anything that covers your body, you know, that keeps the clothes that you don't want dyed, keeps them dye free. The other thing to think about is that we're doing, especially when you're working with plant fibers, is we're working with water a lot. We're doing a lot of rinsing and you just get wet. So normally I have a heavy cotton apron and I'll probably use that most of the time, but and also the idea that the Ninja Turtles would get dyed. Oh, I mean, I'm sure this is cotton. I'm not sure. I'd feel bad. I have to think about it. Like, I'm one of those that I really like presents that you use, and then I like to use them because that to me is like honoring, you know, the present. So like if someone gifts me a blanket or makes a blanket for me, I'm going to use it as a blanket because that's, for me, honoring them. I know some people have really precious heirlooms and, you know, it's hard. You know, do you display it? Do you keep it? Do you hold it? But then if you display it, then sun gets on it and it starts to break down and, you know, what do you do? So for me, I use it and I honor it and I love it. But it's so new, so I haven't thought about what I'm gonna do. Anyhow, okay, so tonight, let's see, what have we had? This week we've done a lot of floss and thread. What do we listen to? Continued with the 70s disco. Also had some mellow stuff in there. What else do we listen to? I mean, and when it's just me and not, you know, my apprentices, I listen to a lot of Depeche Mode as well. So definitely that. And did make some new colorways. We can't talk about them yet. Tonight I'm making a secret colorway. Also can't really talk about that. Um, I mean, suffice it to say, I have got plans in the works, and as a dyer, I find that, you know, well, okay, so this is really interesting, right? Because you have the different types of artists, and you have the people who are making like a thing for you to buy, and you love it, and they're like this, you know, artist, creator, gorgeous, you love it, use it, keep it. But then you have the people like me. I'm like your supplies, right? So I don't, so I mean, I do consider myself an artist, and I love the art that I make, but I don't see it until after you've made something cool. After you've, you know, put your emotion, fear, love, joy, you know, into your piece. And then I get to celebrate. I mean, maybe that's on me. Maybe I should be celebrating earlier. But yeah, so I feel like I'm supplies. I'm the supplier. I'm your dealer. I'm your art dealer. Anywho, okay, so tonight, and it is nighttime, we're gonna dye up some cotton yarn. So all of the techniques that we would use with floss that I've shown previously, we can do with they're all plant fibers. It's just the amount of plant fibers, right? So we're working with normally smaller skeins. You might paint it on, but so now we're gonna work with a larger skein. So this is 100, right? Yeah, this is 100 grams. This is, cotton fingering weight, and it comes in this twisted skein. And so when we undo it, you can see, I'm just going to go like this. You can see it's much larger to work with than a little skein. When I dye things, I try to think about, right, because I'm your dealer, I gotta think about how are you gonna use it in your projects? What is it gonna look like when it's stitched up or worked up? So for the most part, for this yarn, you're gonna knit or crochet, and so I have to think about, okay, well, what would that look like if those stitches are done? Is it, you know, is it good to do, am I gonna do like stripes of color? Am I gonna go splotchy? You know, what would that look in the finished product? What are they gonna make? So I have an example. I mean, but it's also kind of sad because speaking of things I can't recreate, look at this amazing color. I can't recreate it. We've talked about this before. Whatever notes past Robin thought she was making, they were not adequate, not enough. Whatever notes you think you're making, not enough. Write more. This is I'm gonna find the pattern. I found it on Ravelry. Tulipan market bag, I think is its name. But it's really awesome. This is crochet, and it has these like gorgeous kind of tulip shapes. When I started making it, it was very much it asked me to do what? No, I don't think that's gonna look good. I was wrong. The pattern was correct. So if you have some of those moments of, excuse me, then just keep going. It starts from the bottom, and you just go, you make that line and you just go round and round. And it was right here where you start to, make these decorative holes. Who doesn't love decorative holes? I mean, me. Not me. Yeah, I do. It was when I was starting to hit these decorative holes, I was like, I'm sorry, what are we doing? Because it has you like crochet around the post, which I think is really cool. And it basically makes, it makes these parts stick up. So it just, makes the pattern more apparent. Anyway, I love it. Super useful. I have overfilled this bag. I mean, just like aggressively filled it. Totally held up. Totally fine. I love this pattern. I love this bag. And it's got, long arms. It's great. The color of this dye job, I mean, look at that. So good. I cannot recreate it. I mean, I can get close. I know roughly what I did, but so you have these purples with this blue, or this reddish purple to the purple to the blue. It's just awesome. But the overall motif is kind of modeled, which I think looks really good with a bag like that. So we're gonna dye up some cotton tonight, and I'm gonna go with more of that modeled look, more of that movement of color, just kind of all over, and less these stripes, what effectively look like stripes, that I do mostly for cross stitch thread. So let's turn this camera around and let's dye some yarn.
It's time for my favorite voiceover time, but instead of having my sweet dulcet tones in your ear, you got my sick man voice. Ugh, I hate being sick. Anywho, so what I'm doing is I am prepping the fibers. You can see they're much longer than floss, skeins of floss. So I'm going with the squished look because I want to have it modeled all the way through, and I'm just gonna kind of squish it together. I am going with 4 colors. I'm going to put 3 on one side, and then I'm going to flip it over and put a darker color on the back side. And I'm thinking in my head, this will be great. I'm also thinking that this is a very 70s, very shag carpet, wood paneling kind of colors, but I like it. It always looks different when it's dried than now when it's wet, and I'm telling myself this. So I'm layering these, really, I guess they're, in the yellow, light brown kind of family, and I think they'll blend well together. So I'm flipping it over, scrunching it up, and then I'm going to go in with the dark brown. But what was really interesting, and you'll see it later, is that I thought that this dark brown would kind of stay dominantly dark, but it sure didn't. It really worked with the yellow and lightened up and kind of almost became like greenish a little bit. So that was really interesting to me. Also, I'm putting a little bit more color on the right side because it had less color on that side of the other yellow. Goodness, I can't even talk. I can't think. My brain's rattled. My sickness. Okay, look at it. Doesn't that look like a hot mess? Yes, I think so too. But let's rinse it. So it sat overnight because it has to sit at least 4 hours is recommended. But I let my stuff sit overnight because ain't nobody got time for, working it all the time. So I just do it at night, leave it overnight, rinse the next day. And that works well for me. When we talk about, when dyers talk about rinsing the fibers to get all of the dye out, this is what we're talking about. Look how much dye is coming off. I mean, it's a lot. And so I'm going to rinse and soak and rinse until, and you can even see here, it's a lot lighter. I've gotten a lot of the dye off these skeins, but there's still, that yellow business. And again, I live in an area that doesn't have a water shortage. We got tons of water. So it does appear like I am wasting it, but in my area, in my neck of the woods, I am not. So now I'm starting to rinse it one by one, and I'm really looking at the skein. And so see how it has that mottled effect, but the brown is much lighter than I was wanting. So, then I had a vision for it at the beginning. And you can kind of wring it out, and that'll give you a sense of what it'll look like dry. Again, more rinsing. Can't stop, won't stop. Now we're going to fill up. So what I do is I rinse. You get as much of the dye out as you possibly can, rinsing in cold water. And then you start successively soaking and rinsing in hot water with Synthrapol. And here it looks. So then I dried it. I twisted this one up so you can see how it looks like twisted in a skein. And it's really grown on me. I kind of like it. I mean, part of me wishes that dark brown was a little bit darker. See, it's almost kind of like greenish. But I think it looks good. I think it looks really good. And I'm looking at the color throughout the skein so I can see, are there white spots? Is it, the color is only on the outside and not all the way through? That's what I'm looking at. And so I'm sure I'm like inspecting, I don't know, white spots. Yeah, I love it. I really do love it. I don't know. We'll have to give it some sort of harvesty name, or like, name it like 80s couch, 70s vibes. I hate naming. It's so hard. All right. Have a great day, you guys. And next time, hopefully I won't have a husky man voice.